Good morning. Still morning.
It's just... No, it's not. Don't say that. 'Cause I've got a bottle of beer here, so don't say it's morning time. It's not. It's well into the afternoon.
Welcome to this week's episode of Muzz and the Chefs. How the hell did we end up here? Podcast number 16.
16.
Yeah.
16.
So, like every week, ladies and gentlemen, give us a like, give us a comment, and please subscribe to the channel. Or if you're on Facebook, like the page, and give us a like there and a comment under the video. So, this week, without further ado...
Just so I get this right, so everybody's on the same page, you just couldn't be fucked doing fact checks anymore. Is this correct? Because wasn't there somebody that used to go, I used to like the fact checking, and then you went on and on about how much they liked it, and now we just don't bother.
It's a secret.
What's a secret?
It's a secret.
What is?
It's a secret why we can't do it anymore.
Okay. All right.
We've got to keep up this pretense.
All right.
Yeah.
That we're professional and we know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah, and know what we're talking about, exactly. Yes.
So it's my subject this week.
Yes.
And
a riveting subject, I'm sure it's going to be.
Of course it is. We're going to talk about what's going on in the Middle East. We're going to talk about...
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Whether...
Have you got 200 years to talk about it?
whether America is about to invade Iran, whether they're looking for a reason to invade Iran, if Trump actually wants a war, or if it's a red flag, or did the CIA do it, or who bombed the Saudi oil fields? So we've all got our theories, and how bad of Iran to build their country, all are surrounded by those American naval bases and airstrike fields.
Bases.
Yeah,
any of the bases.
Yeah, so
for that matter,
the Americans, I reckon, the military's itching to go in. They're itching to go in, and they haven't learned a single thing from everywhere else they've been. So what do you think? Did the Iranians rob those tankers? Did they bomb Saudi Arabia? What's the story? Because America said Iran did it. Iran said we didn't do it.
I'm waiting for him to finish.
They didn't do it, and the Yemen rebels said they did do it.
The Yemenis said they did?
Yeah.
Okay.
The something rebels in Yemen said, yeah, it was us. And America went, no, it was Iran. Go.
Okay. Well, the first thing I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, is get on the internet and look up something called the Project for the New American Century. And you will see quite plainly in that document a list of a lot of countries that America wanted to invade. Now, I believe this document was created around the time of George Bush Jr., his presidency. And it basically lists a number of countries in the Middle East which they want to do regime change.
What?
Air quotes. And
I'll be quiet.
Iran is the big tamale. I've been saying it for years. Other political commentators and conspiracy theorists
Oh, God.
have been saying it for donkey's years as well. Iran is the big one. They wanted to get their hands on it for a really, really long time. As you said, they've got bases around the outside of it everywhere. Some of the other countries that were on this list were places like Iraq and Libya and a couple other ones I can't think of right now. But there was a list of these countries that they wanted to change. And they...
What gives them the fucking right?
There is no right.
What gives them the right to go, we don't like what's going on with Libya, we're going to change the regime?
Yeah, but it's all about power. It's about having the power to be able to do it. So... It's not about having the right to do it. It's about having the power and the firepower to do it. Busting to get their hands on Iran for ages.
Is it the oil?
Absolutely.
That's the only reason.
Absolutely. It's around.
It was the reason for Iraq.
Why would anybody else want to be in the Middle East? Would you want to be there?
Oh, I don't know.
I don't want to be there.
Is it a nice climate?
What if I live in the desert? I go out in the middle of Australia and live there. You know, does anyone fight over it? Nope. Why? Because there's fuck all there to fight over.
Isn't there uranium?
No, it's uranium.
Let's tell the Americans there's oil in the middle and they can come and develop it.
Well, we did discuss the Cooper Pedy oil reserve.
Yes, we did.
And there's a big reserve there. Okay, so the interesting thing... Now, as you know, I don't hate Trump. I think he's a goose. I don't think...
I think he's dangerous.
I don't think he's dangerous. Why is he dangerous? Out of the things that have happened...
Because he's stupid.
He is stupid, but there's been a couple of instances there, and particularly with that tanker bombing, where he's gone, you know what? If I order a strike, a lot of innocent people are going to die. I'm not going to do it. Now, how many fucking presidents have you heard say that? And don't tell me Obama, because he never fucking said it. Okay, Obama dropped just as many bombs as Trump has in his career so far. Obama is not this fucking, Jesus figure that everyone thought he was. He's just as bad.
Of course
as
he wasn't. He was black.
No, Jesus was brown.
Jesus was white with blue eyes. Remember?
Yeah, no, I think
blonde hair.
Maybe looked like Saddam.
No, what did they say? Jesus looked like the sick one out of the Bee Gees.
The sick one. The sick one.
The sick one out of the Bee
Who's
Gees.
the sick one? Robin.
That one.
Robin doesn't have a beard.
I don't know. Go on. Continue with your rant. Sorry to interrupt.
But anyway, he's a couple of times. I think in there was an instance there also in what's the other place where little refugees come from? We've discussed
Syria.
Syria. And he decided not to do some strikes there as well. So don't tell me that he's this warmonger. He's no more a warmonger than fucking Obama. And God help us if Clinton ever got in, because she'd be bombing the fuck out of people. She jumped up down and had a toast when they killed Saddam and everybody else. And for fuck's sake, imagine that become a president.
Nope. Do I have to be here for this? I just asked the question.
Okay, so my point is, what was your question again exactly?
Who did it?
I don't know who did it. I wouldn't be surprised that it's a false flag, to be quite honest with you. Get to go down the conspiracy.
So you think the CIA set the whole thing up so the Americans gives the Americans an excuse?
They don't need an excuse.
Do you reckon they're looking for an excuse to go in?
Absolutely, they are. They've been hanging. I've been saying it for years. They've been hanging to get their paws on Iran because they've got lots of oil.
They've been sanctioned the fuck out of.
They have.
And they're still continuing. And they've been quite liberal compared to Iraqis. The Iranians were quite liberal at one stage.
They were up until, and that was meddling from America as well. Before was it the Shah? I think I could be making this up. No,
Ayatollah.
No. Before the Ayatollah, there was the Shah, and the Shah was actually quite liberal, and the girls used to get around in miniskirts and bloody everything back then in the 70s, and then the Americans helped install. They fucked around with the country, and then the Ayatollahs came in, and then they started ruling the country, and then because they're religious nut jobs, it's all gone massively conservative and stuff again. So,
do you want me to repeat the question?
So I only just saw it really, really briefly in the news last night, and I just looked at it. The first thing I turned to Michelle and I just said, false flag. They've done this as an excuse to go in and bomb the fuck out of the place and still just look like they've done with everywhere else. Syria, Libya,
Kuwait,
Iraq, Kuwait's friendly to the West anyway. But so no, I I think it's a big setup. They're busting to get their hands on it. They just want it, and they've wanted it for years.
Would anybody come to Iran's aid? Say America went, right, that's it.
Russia even Russia wouldn't, because Russia are a supporter of Iran, as far as I'm aware. But I don't think Putin will come to their...
So
if it is, it'll be World War III.
If America go in, there'll be no resistance from the rest of the world. Do you think the rest of the world will go, oh, we understand? Or will it be like the last Iraq war, where was their last war? Afghanistan. Where people just went...
in Afghanistan, that was another one.
You're just gone in for bullshit reasons. There's no reason to go in. Weapons of mass destruction, there was none.
No.
So...
Conspiracies don't exist.
They're looking for another excuse to go into Iran. You really believe this?
They're looking for an excuse, there's no doubt. They've wanted to get their paws on it for a long time. Absolutely.
And no one's going to come to the Iranians' help, because Putin has come to the aid of the psychopath that's in charge of Syria. What's his name? Can't remember his name. Yeah, he's been backed by Russia, and he's really he gassed his own people
maybe
twice.
China as well, maybe as well. I don't know enough about the actual bombing and the rest of the shit, that's happened. But the interesting thing is that there's been a war between Saudi Arabia and Yemen for a long time, and
we're having camera issues. Just if it goes like this or like that, you'll know why.
I think we're using this one.
We're using this one. Oh, it just died
because that one just did itself off. So So what was I just talking about? I got sidetracked with that.
Russia was helping Saudi.
No. So Saudi Arabia has been in a war with
Yemen
for years now, and a lot of atrocities have happened there. So, I mean, I guess looking on the non-skeptical side, I guess the Yemenis did have a reason to bomb the fuck out of the
Saudis.
The Saudi oil refinery, or it was. So I think that's a legitimate. It could be a legitimate excuse, but whether it's false flag or it's a legitimate attack from the Yemenis, it doesn't matter. The US will use it as an excuse to invade.
Well,
I think.
What did Trump say? We're locked and loaded.
Yeah.
That's a scary statement. And the other thing about this whole attack is the Americans released this footage, and it's just this black and white footage. It could be a picture of the inside of a fucking McDonald's. You know what I mean? They could call it whatever they wanted and go, it just came from this way, and they could turn it this way and everything. But the other interesting thing is, it's the first time, like, I know of, like, drones. It was a drone attack.
Yeah, how the hell did the Yemenis get their hands on drones?
Apparently there were Iranian drones.
Okay.
So, yeah, it was a drone attack.
I thought America was and the Allied. Okay, that's something to look into. But I thought sort of more of the Allies.
See, if this had been a couple of episodes back, he'd have gone, that's a fact check, but we're not going to fucking bother anymore.
I might have a look this week. There's a secret reason.
So, Iranian drones sent by Yemen to blow up Saudi, reaction by America. Why does America... Like, America should just mind its own fucking business, really. In the big scheme of things, it should. They should just go, you know what?
There's money to be made.
Let them just blow the shit out of each other. It took out 5% of the oil production in the world.
You've never heard of guns for oil?
Yes. Yes.
That's how I'm say. Okay, I don't know when this started, but my theory is it started in World War II. Okay, so, up until the point that the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, America were blatantly staying out of World War II. And they were holding back and holding back and holding back. They did have the Lend-Lease, or the Lend, whatever it was called, with the UK, sending over... so they weren't totally impartial, but they were sending over, supplies and stuff, which they were on a... which they would owe America after the war, if and when they won it. And it wasn't until Pearl Harbor that the Americans officially joined the war. So what was happening is America was making a fuck ton... I like that word. A fuck ton of money.
What fuck?
Yes,
you do.
out of weapons and supplies and military supplies, and they've just kept on that bandwagon since. And in the Middle East, it's like, okay, we'll send you guns, and you give us oil. And that's just what's happening with a lot of the countries over there, particularly Saudi Arabia. And
do you remember Oliver North? Do you remember Oliver North?
North.
He was a general or something, and it was the exchange arms for hostages. It was the late 80s. Ronald Reagan was president of America, and they did it was called Irangate, where they gave the Iranians guns and arms to free hostages. And
I remember that.
And after that was when the whole "we will not negotiate with terrorists" started. But all America have to do now is they name somewhere a terrorist state or a sponsor of terror, and then this gives them a free mandate to do whatever the fuck they want. Which is,
it's blatantly obvious what they want it for. They want the oil. They want the resources. But
they've got Saudi in their back pocket already.
Oh, they have. Of course they have. But they've got to pay him for that.
Yeah, but the king of Saudi Arabia, like, was it the Crown Prince or whatever, had that journalist. The journalist wrote some bad things about him. They sent for him. He turned up and they beheaded him and fucking threw him out. What happened to him?
That's what happens in a totalitarian regime.
What happened to the prince? Nothing.
Yeah, of course.
If that was an American citizen.
And isn't it hilarious how Saudi Arabia sit on the human rights fucking board? It's like, you're what? You're fucking kidding me, right?
So
talk about a token bloody.
I feel for the Iranians. I don't know why, and I don't know why I sympathise with them. But it's
bullshit.
Just,
that's why, and I totally agree with you.
Their regime might be fucked up, but that's their own fault. They can get rid of their own regime. They don't need outside forces, and have a coup. Have a coup or two.
Yeah, see how that works out for them.
Yeah,
America will definitely step in.
I know, but
America
why?
do it all the time. They arm the rebels.
Yeah, they arm both sides.
This is the MO as far as I can work out. They arm the rebels. The rebels go in, shoot up the government or the official government or whoever at the time. The government shoots back, saying, "Oh my God, they're killing their own people. Time to go in." Happens every time. Every single time.
Or they wait for the rebels to take over and then they come in and knock the rebels off.
Yeah, well, yeah. And then they do that in the end anyway.
Yeah.
That's exactly that's how ISIS was created.
And they leave a shithole. They leave a power vacuum. That's not... Oh, what did he do this week? He cancelled secret peace talks with... Who were the crowd that bombed 9/11? Who were they? What was their names? The terrorists.
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, yeah.
A majority of them were Yemenis and Saudis.
And the Taliban. That's who I was thinking of.
Yeah.
We're supposed to have secret peace talks in America. And
Can you back off from your mic a bit? You're blowing the hell out of it.
Trump came out and just cancelled it and made it public. And you go, you tool.
Well,
like, if you're having peace talks... Do you want me to talk really quietly? If you're having peace talks and it's working and there's less people getting dead, wouldn't you continue?
less people getting dead.
Yeah.
Funny way to put it.
Yeah.
Less people getting dead, less people dying.
Same fucking thing. You know what I meant.
So I don't know. I think I've answered your question. That's what I believe.
So you believe it's all a hoax?
I don't believe it's a hoax,
hoax,
but it's a very
it's a setup.
It's either a setup or it's a very convenient thing to happen. Look, I could go 50-50 on this. I could go 50-50 false flag or 50-50 the Yemenis are just getting their own back because they have been
tortured.
You know, they've been treated so badly by the Saudis, you know, and Saudis have got the backing of the American military, planes, fucking tanks, bombs, all the whole bit.
Well, they've got all the oil, so they've got all the money.
Well, they've got the oil. They go, here's some oil, give me tanks, bombs, planes, blah, 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 and we'll go shoot these fuckers over here we don't like. You know, and there's a problem. And again, like we discussed the other week, you know, it's not just, you know, when people talk about, oh, fucking Muslims and they had everybody, you know, and they want to kill everybody. Which is bullshit, by the way. But, you know, they're both, you know, Muslim countries, and they're fighting against each other, you know, so you can't use that as an excuse.
Yeah, but the Americans have probably killed more people than Muslims ever have or ever will, because they're just going around bombing the shit out of countries they just want to take shit from.
Yep.
You know, you think they've been in Korea, they've been in Vietnam, they've been in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait. These are just the countries since we've been alive. So, like, Iran's just the next one on the list, as you said. There's a list.
Honestly, all you need
Who
to do...
wrote this list?
It's called, as I said before, it's called the Project for the New American Century, and I can't remember the name of all the signatories or the people that contributed to this document, but look it up on the internet, you'll find it. It's not exactly a secret, this thing.
Okay.
They are behind schedule, I suppose, in terms of time.
Oh, so there's like a timetable.
Well, there was a time in the next 5 years. This was after, I think this was after, look, I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. After 9/11, they all came together when Bush was the president, and they said, okay, within the next 5 years, we want to invade blah, 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 and let's make it happen. Okay, so that was, when did 9/11 happen? What year was that? I can't remember the exact year, but...
Was it 01 or something? Was it...
2003, maybe? I can't remember. But, so, yeah, they're a bit behind the eight ball, but,
I think it was 01.
Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, they, you know, it's taken a little bit more time, but they want it, and they will eventually get it, because there's resources there to be had.
So they're using the revenge tactic to get more resources. I keep looking at this fucking thing. They're using that as an excuse to invade other countries.
We'll use a bit of that one, and then a bit of that one.
All right, okay, cool. You have no idea what I just said, do you?
No. What did you say?
So they're using 9/11 as going, right, we have to change this regime, that regime, but it's only in places that have oil. Funny that, isn't
Exactly.
it? Like convenient.
Yeah, it's very convenient. Convenient truth.
Inconvenient. Oh, let's not go down that road. So we're saying...
Fitting with my drum kit.
We're saying Iran's fucked. No matter what, at some stage they're going to go in.
Whether this happens, whether this is excuse enough to go in, is, I think, yet to be seen.
It's the second one in a month. They had the tankers that were hijacked.
That was a couple of months ago.
And now the bombing of oil fields. So is the next one up the ante again?
Oh, of course.
So the next one will be they kill somebody or they bomb like in a hospital for sick children or something. Yeah. I don't know. And then they go, right, that's it. That's enough now.
Well, that's what they did with Kuwait. You know, like, you know, when Saddam invaded Kuwait. I mean, first of all, he invaded Kuwait. That was the first bad thing that he did. But, you know, the thing that really got
I'm
under
sure there was a few other bad things he did before that.
Well, a lot of the bad things he did, he was supplied from the US. Yeah. Sarin gas and the rest of the shit.
But that's what...
And who did America
sad.
back in the Iran-Iraq war? The US backed Iraq, didn't they?
It depends. They were on both sides
Were
at one
they?
stage.
Have a little bit down the side. Oh, you're
Yeah.
starting to win. Have some on that side.
Well, when they got the hostages back from Iran, they gave them arms, but they were arming the Iraqis at the same time. And now, after Saddam, they've stayed there and trained all the Iraqi troops. So, America, pick a side, and whether you're right or
They're
wrong.
picking their own side. They're picking the side of how much fucking oil they can get out of these places. That's what they're picking the side of. And as you said, what was the price for fuel this morning?
Yeah, $1.75 a litre.
And our actual oil doesn't come from the Middle East, I believe. I believe ours comes from sort of Southeast Asia area. Our oil doesn't actually come from the Middle East anyway. So, but it's just across the board oil prices, and as soon as something like this happens, they whack the price up straight away.
You wouldn't think people are making money off this, would you? You're not
Let's go down that road
insinuating.
for a moment. We've got probably 2 minutes. But if you go down that road for a moment, and we may have discussed this on a different podcast, but I mean, when they're talking about... I've got to stop fiddling with the drum kit, sorry. The idea that oil is scarce is, in my opinion, bullshit. They just make it appear scarce so they can charge you more money. I'm not saying that there's an unlimited supply.
Yeah, but OPEC control how much is produced. They control how much is produced so they can control the price.
Of course. That's like diamonds. So one of the conspiracy theories that are actually true is that people still to this day think diamonds are rare. They're not fucking rare. They know exactly where they are, and they mine the fuck out of it every single year. They put them in big warehouses, and they only release a certain amount of diamonds each year to keep the price up.
Where's the warehouse?
I don't know.
Would you
I
say
think a lot of diamonds come from Africa, but that
blood diamonds?
Yeah, but people think the diamonds are still this massively rare thing. They are rare in terms of minerals and other things on the planet, but they know where they are. They know where they can mine them, and they do. They mine them. They put them in a big warehouse, and they just trickle them out each year so they can keep the
Supply
price
and
up.
demand. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Same
that's a
thing
clever
with
thing to do.
Clever business thing to do.
Yeah.
But the thing is, people like diamonds, and they pay more for diamonds because they're considered rare.
Are they considered rare? Or are they just considered expensive?
Well, most things are expensive because they're rare.
Okay.
Wouldn't you think? Gold isn't overly, we don't have a lot of gold on the planet compared to copper, for example, which is cheap as. Why is it cheap as? Because it's plentiful.
But copper's not cheap. Copper's
Well,
expensive.
it's cheap, yeah, but it's cheap compared to
That's
gold.
why people
isn't it?
rob copper wiring from building sites, because it's so bloody expensive.
Yeah, but it's been more plentiful to, and that's just finished too. We have to go to fucking video audio this week.
Yeah, it's been a technology
Yeah.
fuck up again.
Shit. Anyway,
Where are we going? Are we going to wind this up now or what?
no, we can still talk. We can just
still
talk about
talk.
it. We'll just put a little graphic there. With a dog with a cord in its mouth or something.
Yeah.
Just pull the plug out. So they're I said, busting to get their hands on the place. Have been for a long time.
Well, I don't understand. You would have think the American people. No, I'm not talking about the government, but the American people as a whole would be sick of this shit by now. Sick of going where like these. I'm sorry, I'm about to insult a whole country. Their education system's not great, so they wouldn't be able to find half of these places on a fucking map.
Americans do, I don't know if Americans are uneducated or they're just educated about their own country. I mean, if you talk to the average Australian too, if you said, can you point on a map, and if actually, I know I've had a little bit of trouble finding it, but I'd like, if you said, where's Yemen on a map, I'd go, well, Saudi Arabia's there, I think, Lemon?
Lemon.
Yemen is about on a bit southwest of there,
Yep.
I think that's correct, but I wouldn't be able to just, there it is.
I wouldn't be able to draw the shape of it either, but
But did you ever see that thing that Jay Leno used to do? He used to go on the street with a microphone and talk to people, and he'd ask them questions like, one that I remember was, where would you find the English channel?
yeah.
And they go, cable? Cable TV. Stuff like that. So, a lot of Americans aren't very educated. It's weird. It's like they're educated about kind of their own country. They know where things are.
Very insular.
Insular, yeah, exactly. They seem to be very insular about their own country. They know about their own country. They know where California is. They know where. They may even know where Canada is. They don't know where Texas is and New York is and that. But when you say where's fucking Tasmania,
I saw one of those Jay Leno things, and he said, "Name a country that America has a land border with."
oh,
and like 50% couldn't name one.
You're kidding.
No.
That's unbelievable.
You know, they couldn't name who they've got. They could name everything, like the capitals of each state in America, but that's it. They don't have a global view of anything. They have an American view of everything.
Yeah, they're very insular. Yeah, they just only concerned about what's going on. And I think that's, I think probably a lot of Americans are ignorant, and we've talked about this before too, are probably very ignorant about their foreign policy.
Yeah.
You know, they are only interested in, it's like a lot of people. You know, people aren't interested in politics and blah, blah, blah until it starts to really affect them.
But the problem with the American foreign policy, it affects the rest of the world more than it affects America.
Of course it does, because, they're a big economic power, and, Wall Street's there and all the rest of it. So, yeah, absolutely.
Was China on the list?
No.
Okay.
They couldn't invade China. Well, they could try, but there's a lot of them.
A lot of
There's a lot of Chinese people to contend with.
But they've just made that base in Darwin bigger. The American Air Force base in Darwin's huge now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, as I was saying, I think the American people would be sick of it, but
I don't think they care. I think that's the difference.
So John Oliver does this thing where he goes, in Venezuela, and he puts up a map of Venezuela, and he goes, you're so ignorant in this country that you don't even know that's not Venezuela. And he'll do little things like that, and they don't realize what the effect their country has on the rest of the world, because they're not in the rest of the world. They're in America, and they're USA all the way.
Yeah, but take their oil away from them, they'll start to kick up a stink very quickly. I think there was a big oil shortage in the
70s or 80s.
80s, I think, wasn't it?
I remember
80s?
petrol strikes.
Yeah,
and like number plates, you could fill up by your number plate if it ended in this or ended in that. Or,
really?
Yeah, that's how they did it.
I remember that happening. I wasn't driving at the time anyway, so
it was I was a kid.
Yeah, I don't actually remember it much.
I remember queues outside petrol stations.
Yeah, wow. I know it was a big thing in the States too, but I don't remember it here. Like, I don't remember it happening when I was a kid. Doesn't mean it didn't happen, I just don't.
But fuel prices in Australia, like even at $1.75, is still cheaper than Europe.
Is it?
Oh, much cheaper. When I was in Europe last, it was like €1.75.
Oh, okay.
So it's 3/4 of the price.
Yeah, but the euro is better than the Australian dollar most of the time.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I was paying as much in euros as I was in dollars. So, yeah, and America's, like, are they trying to corner the world market on oil? Is that what the plan?
They've done that.
Well, they haven't really.
They've done that with the help of the Saudis. Do you think you think about this? You think about the philosophy of the Saudi royal family government, and you look at the philosophy of the America, they couldn't be more diametrically opposed if you try it. You got freedom, democracy, or at least perceived freedom and democracy, blah, 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 blah. Then you've got this totalitarian, Sharia law country, and they're best buddies with each other, and George Bush and the King of Saudi Arabia walk hand in hand up to the White House. It's just about they just benefit each other, you know what I mean? But the crazy thing about that drives me a little bit nuts, and you would appreciate this too, is that they've got such a strong relationship with Saudi Arabia, and they've got such a strong relationship with Israel.
Yeah.
And they couldn't be more diametrically opposed to each other either.
Well, the Israelis are just sitting there going, please don't drag us into this one.
Yeah.
Because if Israel gets involved, then all the Arab countries around Israel will find their excuse to go, fuck you, Israel.
And I don't necessarily believe all the rhetoric that they talk about Iran always saying, look, maybe the president said it or the Ayatollah said it.
Maybe that's what they're going to do. They're going to do a strike. They're going to do a strike on Israel and blame Iran for it, and that's going to be the perfect excuse.
Oh, that'd be the perfect excuse. I mean, I don't know who said it, but apparently it was said that Iran would wipe Israel off the map if they could.
Well, any of the Arab nations probably wouldn't say it, but they'd probably all think it.
They'd probably think it, yeah.
Just the Israel, but these. Wow, that's a touchy subject. The Israel thing, touchy subject. And I'm not going to go near it.
Well, the thing is that Israel isn't a. It is a secular country.
It doesn't play well with others.
But it is a secular country. You have Christians there. You have Muslims live there. Mm-hmm. You have a majority, probably Jewish people in terms of religion living there as well. And there's probably a lot of them that are Jewish by race but not by religion as well who live there. But it is a secular country, unlike Saudi Arabia, which isn't.
Yeah.
They're not at all. Me and you can say, okay, we're going to go to Saudi Arabia tomorrow and we're going to build a church. Oh, that's not going to fucking happen. That's not going to happen.
First of all, we wouldn't even build a church here.
So. No, exactly. But if we chose to, it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't let you do it. Wouldn't happen.
It depends.
No, it wouldn't. They wouldn't allow it to happen.
What if it was an American one? The Americans went, we want to build a
They
church
wouldn't
for
allow it.
our...
Wouldn't happen.
Okay.
Wouldn't happen.
Just
I
that's
don't
it.
think. I don't believe so.
Right. But geez, that's a very interesting question. If they really want to drag Iran into this and they really want to go in, the answer is bombing Israel,
Oh, yeah.
and that's it.
Send
and
a
that,
nuke over, send something over.
and that involves the Israelis straight away because they're not shy of up for a fight.
Exactly.
Which would be good for the Palestinians. They might call,
Might leave them alone for
they
a
might
while.
catch a break for a little bit. Might be allowed to go fishing in their own sea, but hey, let's not go down that road.
Yeah. Well, I sort of hit the half an hour there, so have I answered your question?
Yes, you have. I think it's the first time ever. You've actually gone.
We're
Yes,
going off on 10 tangents.
I think it's done.
We're done.
I think they're going in. I don't know when.
It's a matter of time.
Okay.
Whether it happens under Trump or it happens under the next president doesn't really matter.
Who, Bernie?
I still don't reckon Bernie will be president, but no, it's on the list. It's been on the list for a long time. They're itching to get their paws on it, and if there's any, and this is where, is another really good argument for renewable energy, because if you don't need the fucking oil, you can leave these poor bastards alone and just get out and leave them to themselves.
Yeah.
Leave them to their camels in their desert.
Yeah.
Was that really racist?
Tad.
But honestly, just leave them, because a lot of people say that before America came in and helped and showed and the science how to drill for oil and blah 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 blah. They were just
Careful.
very simple, lived very simply, very traditionally.
But that's the way you want to live. You're quite happy to live off the grid, simple and
I'd
traditional.
love to. Yeah, it'd be great.
So
Awesome.
off to Saudi you go.
Yeah.
With your camel and your sandcastles. Can you
What?
Can you build sandcastles in the desert?
Why couldn't you?
Well, don't you need a little bit of water?
Yeah, there's water in the desert in certain places.
Okay. Anyway, we digress.
Okay. Again, thank you very much if you tuned in this week. Us solving world problems as we always do.
Yeah.
If we're in charge, we get shit done.
Yeah.
But anyway, subscribe, like, comment, like us on Facebook, and we'll talk to you next week.
So if you're in Iran, our advice would be get the fuck out now. And if you're an Iranian, start getting bits of wood and attach your white sheets to them, because you're going to need to fly those flags, I think, pretty soon. Other than that, best of luck. Goodbye.